The employment law landscape will potentially look very different in the foreseeable future. HRD TV sat down with Charlotte Parkhill, partner at Kensington Swan, to discuss what changes will come in once new legislation has been passed.
So with Labor at the helm at the moment, there's been obviously a change of government, and comes as no real surprise that fair pay agreements and the whole idea around equity for employees is really at the forefront of Labor's employment agendas. So we are seeing some pretty major changes come through, and one of the key ones is around trial periods, and trial periods allow you to basically terminate an employee without going through a fair process. Now, for bigger employers, so more than 20 employees, those are gone. And what that means, of course, is that an employer is going to have to make sure that their recruitment processes are really sound and that they're recruiting the right people, because that get out of jail free card is no longer available.
Another major change involves removing the restrictions on unions around collective bargaining, according to Parkhill.
Under a national government, some changes came into play. So they basically said you can apply to the Employment Relations Authority for a declaration that bargaining was at an end. That is gone. And that means employers and unions will sit around a table and bargain until they reach a collective agreement. Now, union access is another point. So at the moment, under the current regime, a union will have to ring an employer and say, I would like to access your business and talk about a time and way to do that. That's going, and that means that unions can just turn up. Now, granted, there weren't many occasions that an employer could say no anyway, but it did give employers the opportunity to say, well, actually, I'd like you to do this on a different day, or, let's talk about it. And that's no longer, it won't be available anymore. Rest and meal breaks, employers are now entitled to rest and meal breaks under the current regime, but an employer can compensate instead for those. That's going. So all employers must provide rest and meal breaks to employees going forward once these changes come in. And that might not sound like a big deal if you work in an office, but for retailers who have sole man stores, for example, then they will need to have rest and meal breaks available for those people.
Parkhill added that paid parental leave has already been extended, which came in on the 1st of July.
It'll be 26 weeks in July 2020, so that's quite a change. And the concept of pay equity, which is a little bit more technical, but it's basically the idea of fair pay for women's work. So there was a case called Terra Nova where the care workers industry won and got a large settlement as a result of that, because they demonstrated that that industry was low paid because it was dominated by women.